Hi, this is Payal Nanjiani, and I am back again on our leadership talk. I hope you are doing excellently well in your life and in your career. Now, one of the things that people don't often talk about in leadership is about what happens when you rise higher. Because from the outside, success looks exciting. Those bigger roles, more visibility, more influence. But internally, something very different starts to shape your career as you rise higher. And I have seen this happening with some of the most incredible and smart leaders all across the globe. These successful leaders, they are sharp, they are decisive, they are respected, they are calm in chaos, they are trusted for their gut feeling. And these leaders can make fast calls which are right for most of the time. And they have the confidence. But as they rise into the senior leadership roles, they get really trapped into the self doubt, over preparing, overthinking. They stop speaking first, they start doubting themselves, they start comparing themselves constantly with others in the room. Now, the higher that you rise, the more exposed you feel, and the more your doubts, the more your thinking gets clouded. The more you start requiring validation from others, and the more you start comparing yourself. This is what I call the altitude effect. It is something most leaders miss as they are moving up. The altitude effect occurs even to the most confident leaders around there because they start beginning to doubt their own abilities. And as they take up higher roles, they get clouded by doubts. See, at lower levels, confidence is built on skills, but at higher levels, it is tested by how you make decisions during ambiguity. And the truth is, as leaders move up, your competence grows, but so does your exposure. Without that, my friend, without that inner grounding, your exposure can start feeling like vulnerability. You feel exposed because the higher you go, the less the world tells you what's working and what's not. And the more of that you have to then know it on your by your own self. See, the altitude effect explains how accomplished leaders may feel self-doubt at the organization's highest level, and sometimes it appears like an imposter syndrome. So when people begin to doubt themselves at the top, it often surprises others because from the outside, success looks like the results and the confidence. But in my experience as a coach to some of the most smartest leaders in the world, I have seen that many people who reach high levels in their career, they struggle with self-doubt. In fact, overwhelming majority of CEOs have confessed that they have doubts. Now, here are a few reasons why this happens, why you self-doubt yourself as you get into senior leadership roles. Number one, the stakes are really high. Number two, your decisions now are visible to the world at large. Number three, you have less support at the top. Number four, it's hard to talk to people about your problems. Number five, there's a lack of peers to confide in. And number six, your identity now starts getting tied to the company's performance. So at higher levels, external validation starts to fade off, and leaders need to have that internal grounding to navigate increased doubt and exposure. Without that internal grounding, you're going to find it very difficult at higher levels. In fact, one of the things I always teach my executive clients is to help them build a stronger inner core so that they can have an anchor. See, an anchor is very necessary. It is something or someone that provides you stability, reassurance, and a sense of security. When external circumstances are changing, who do you go to and what do you go to? When everything around you is uncertain, you have expectations and things are not steady, who and what do you go to? So I always encourage people to have an anchor. An anchor can be anything or anyone. It can be travel, music, friends, writing, faith. What matters is rely that how you can return to that anchor and maintain that perspective and ground yourself. Because at the higher levels, it's all about the pressure that you're able to handle. Another important thing at the higher levels, which I have observed, is that building of circles of trusted voices. Even the most senior leaders, they need a few people like coaches or peers who can actually challenge their thinking without judgment, to whom they can talk without fear. These conversations help senior leaders recalibrate without being exposed. I myself am a trusted partner and advisor to many senior executives around the world, and and they bring me anything. They share questions they which they cannot easily discuss elsewhere, such as strategic dilemmas, leadership tensions, phases of uncertainty, or what's happening in the boardrooms, or personal issues or behaviors that block their thinking, behaviors that is not allowing them to move ahead. Sometimes they are not even looking for answers. They are only looking for a space where they can think clearly again, where they can just run their ideas by and debate it with me. So, internal grounding, when you have that internal grounding, it does not raise the doubt, because at higher altitudes, doubts will still be there. The key is in understanding how to manage that doubt so that it doesn't control you. In fact, at higher levels, I have seen that problems grow more complex. But at the same time, you as a leader become more seasoned. My friend, the altitude effect doesn't go away as you grow in your career. In fact, it comes back whenever you step into a bigger arena, such as a new role, a global responsibility, a transformation, or a reorg or a crisis that is going to test your judgment every now and then. And each new level in your career brings an unfamiliar terrain where experience alone cannot erase the doubt. Your experience, your skills, your degrees, your credentials, it cannot help you. Altitude maturity is the key. You have to know that despite the uncertainty at the higher levels, how are you going to manage yourself? Because every level that you climb upward in your career, the air becomes thinner, the climb becomes harder. And at senior levels and in the boardrooms, I have observed that all of these factors, the self doubt, the fear, all of this comes and clouds you. You have to work towards bringing an inner grounding so that you can climb the career ladder. Because climbing the career ladder, my friends, has nothing got to do with only your experience or only your credentials and your degrees. You just because you have been getting work done doesn't mean you're going to climb up. And even if you do, I can almost assure you, with the experience I've had with my clients, you're going to fall. You're going to get somewhere stuck in your career. That stuck is because of the altitude effect that it has at the higher levels. So ensure that you have an anchor, ensure that you are prepared to get into senior roles, because the air over there is very, very, very thin and you need that oxygen. I will be back with another episode in our leadership talk. Until then, wishing you loads of success in your career life. God bless.